Language is the dress of thought, said Samuel Johnson. In other ways to say, we'll discover new expressions and phrases to dress our thoughts beautifully. Today, we look at different ways to say I like. Using different expressions not only makes your English sound more natural but also helps you better convey your feelings and preferences. First, let's start with some basic alternatives that are widely used in both Britain and the US. Instead of saying I like, you can say, I enjoy. For example, I enjoy reading books. This expression is simple and commonly used in everyday conversation. Another great alternative is, I'm fond of. This phrase is slightly more formal but still very common. For instance, I'm fond of history books. If you want to express a stronger liking, you can say, I love. This is probably the most straightforward way to emphasize your preference. For example, I love Italian food. For a more casual informal tone, you might say, I'm into. This is perfect for conversations with friends. For example, I'm really into hiking these days. Now, let's move on to some expressions that might be more popular in specific regions. In the US, you might hear people say, I'm a big fan of. This phrase is often used to talk about hobbies, sports, or entertainment. For example, I'm a big fan of basketball. In Britain, you might hear the phrase, I'm keen on. This is quite common and can be used in various contexts. For instance, I'm keen on gardening. Another British expression is, I fancy. This is used more informally and often refers to liking someone or something. For example, I really fancy a cup of tea. Last but not least, I have a soft spot for, is used in both regions and adds a touch of affection. For example, I have a soft spot for chocolate. That's all for today's episode of Other Ways to Say. Try using these expressions in your conversations to make your English more varied and interesting. Join us next time as we explore more ways to say common phrases in English. Thanks for listening and happy learning.